Happy Friday. Hope you guys have been able to enjoy the sunshine that we have been granted the past few days. It really has been lovely since we had a couple of weeks with no sunshine, practically. Anyway, last week I put out a video about real estate content, and many of you messaged me and responded that you would like to learn about certain topics. And one of those topics was tax sales. So we're going to get started today and discuss the ins and outs of tax sales. The question was, how hard is it to get a property from a tax sale? And the process itself is not that difficult, but there are definitely some changes in our market that might make it a little bit more challenging to actually obtain one. So first of all, we're going to discuss what the process is in the state of Indiana. It's important to know that in the state of Indiana, we are a tax deed state. And what that means is that when a property does go to tax sale, that you actually get a deed when you win the bid on that property. Some states are tax lien states. They would issue a lien on the property, and then after the redemption period, then you would get the deed. Indiana's one step, which makes it really nice and convenient. So what's important to understand about the process, though, is that once you do win a bid on a tax sale property, you actually do not get possession of that property. You get a deed, of course, but you cannot enter that property. You cannot go and renovate the property. You cannot rent the property out. You cannot remove anybody who is in the property, and you cannot remove any possessions that are in that property. Basically, you can drive by it and look at it, but you're going to be waiting during the redemption period, which is 12 months, before you can actually get possession of that property. The redemption period allows the property owner who lost the property or who were delinquent on their taxes to come in and pay their taxes and reclaim the property. How often does that happen? I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but it does. So you just want to make sure if you do get a property through a tax deed sale that you do not enter the property or make any changes to it in case the property owner does come back to redeem it. It's important to know. So in Indiana, most of the time, the properties will go to tax sale once they're about 15 months behind on their taxes. It could be maybe a little bit sooner, maybe a little bit longer, but for instance, Madison County, it's 15 months. If they have not paid their taxes, the property will be going to tax sale. The county will publish a list about 4 to 6 weeks, most of the time, of the properties that will be going to tax sale, It's important that you review this list, and it's more important that you drive by the properties that you're interested in. Please, please, please do not rely on Google Maps. So I'm going to share a story with you. Please learn from my mistakes. So there was a property that my husband and I, our very first tax sale, we bid on. We looked it up on Google Maps. Everything looked legitimate, and we bid on the property, and come to find out it was landlocked. Okay, so there was no way to tell that by looking at the tax records or the previous deed or Google Maps. Okay, thankfully, we didn't pay a lot for the property. It was not an expensive of an education as it could have been. So I just want you to be aware of that. The other experience that we had is that we pulled the list and identified the properties that we were interested in and went ahead and drove by them because of our first experience. And one of the properties was a vacant lot, but on Google Maps, it actually showed that there was a house sitting on this lot. Well, there was not. It was a corner lot in a subdivision that a builder had gone under during the last downturn of the market. And the lot, maybe, it wasn't even a quarter of an acre, actually. It was not a quarter of an acre. And somebody bid on it for $90,000, and they had to pay $90,000 for a vacant lot. Now, I don't know if that individual was aware or not, but one thing I can assure you, that lot is not worth $90,000. I'm very familiar with that neighborhood. I've sold a lot of homes in that neighborhood, and there is no way that less than a quarter of an acre of a lot is worth $90,000 in this location. So just do your due diligence, drive by the properties. If you're okay with vacant lots, just know that that's what you would be bidding on. So it's very important that you do not rely on Google. maps, okay, for these properties. And you can pull tax records to get information about the properties. You can obviously use Zillow, some of the online real estate platforms you could use. You could contact me if you want some information. I will see what I can find. Title companies are another source that could help you get additional information about a property, okay? So we talked about the redemption period. We talked about how Indiana is a tax deed state and the timing for the list. Now, if you do move forward and you do decide that you're going to bid on a property, some counties will do online auctions and some do them in person. Regardless, once you do get your bid accepted, they will expect you to have payment within 24 hours. Some of them want them the same day. This will need to be in the form of certified funds from your bank. So you will not be able to get a mortgage to buy tax sales, okay? Maybe a line of credit, you could do it that way, but you're not gonna be able to work with a lender to get a mortgage on a property that you don't have a purchase agreement on, that you're buying it at tax sale. I hope that makes sense. If you want more details, PM me and we'll go over that a little bit more. So it's just important that you make sure that you've done your due diligence. We talked about that, but another reason is because sometimes there will be liens on these properties. So if you do get an accepted bid on a property, you have 12 months to clear up those liens. Now, there are attorneys who specialize in this and who can help you through that process, because you will need documentation that you've notified all the lien holders. Lien holders can include mortgage companies, utilities. Sometimes if this property owner has not been paying their taxes, good chance they didn't pay utilities, and now there's a lien on the property. There could be mechanics liens on the property. All of these will need to be released. An attorney who is familiar with the process can help you through that, so you have the right documentation. So after the 12-month redemption period, you can prove to the judge that you notified all the lien holders, and then the judge will release all of those liens, because delinquent taxes actually takes priority over a mortgage. So you just want to make sure that all those things get released before you get possession of the property and everything is finalized. So what's the benefit to buying tax sales? Well, it used to be you could get them for a lot lower than what you could get an on-market property. This is becoming more and more challenging. There are so many investors who've entered our market. These are national investors. These are overseas investors, hedge funds. So this is who you're competing with. Some of these hedge funds or national investors will hire someone to just sit at a computer and do the online tax sale auctions, and they will purchase every property they can. Why would they do that? Because they have decided that getting a 10% return on their money, if they buy $1 million worth of real estate and they get a 10% return, that's a pretty good return. They've decided that that is adequate enough for them, their shareholders, any of their investor partners. So you will need to decide if a 10% return on your money is sufficient for you. Are you okay with your money sitting out there for an entire year and earning 10%? I as an investor am not. I want my money to earn more than that for me. I prefer that my money earns 20% or higher before I'm gonna put my money out there and let it sit. I would rather use it on other things if I'm not gonna earn an average of 20% or more. So to give you an example, among my rental portfolio, I average about 24 to 28% return on my investment. I have some performing higher than that. I think I have one that's actually performing about 34%, and I think I may have one that's performing at 18%. I'm okay with that because collectively I am getting in the 20s, and I'm good with that. So you'll need to decide, if the property owner were to redeem the property and your money sat there for an entire year, are you okay with earning 10%? If you're not, tax sales may not be the right investment strategy for you. They may be, but they may not be. So you'll just need to determine how you want to invest, because there are a lot of different ways to invest in real estate than tax sales. I think tax sales could be a great way to build a rental portfolio, probably a little bit more challenging in today's climate. There are a lot of landlords who built their rental portfolios with tax sales. Many, many years ago, when there was not so much competition and you could still get them for a good price. The thing you have to understand is that the tax sale properties are pretty much going for market value now. So it's not you're going in there and getting them pennies on the dollar anymore. If the property is a $200,000 property, you're probably paying $200,000, if not $225,000. So that's just kind of give you an example of what to expect. And this is just recent experiences that I've had. I check the tax sales. I frequently look at them. I'm curious about them, more so just to be educated on what's going on. But it's not the best time to get tax sales right now. Just my opinion. You may think differently. So I just wanted to share that with you. So just decide, how do you want to invest your money? What kind of return do you want to get back? What's your intention with the property? If you're looking to flip or rent, there are other strategies that we can use to help you get flip houses and rental houses. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to text me, call me, private message me, or DM, whatever it's called on Facebook nowadays. But I am really happy to help any way that I can. I have a lot of experience in real estate. I've been doing this for 20 years. I know the ins and outs of all sorts of investment strategies in real estate. That's my comfort zone, and I'm happy to help you. I can be reached at 317-414-0633. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend.